Americans vote for safety, clean living, and religious freedom. This is the CitizenLink Report. I'm Stuart Shepard, along with Tom Minnery, who is now our President Emeritus and also busily working toward the launch of the Statesman Academy next July. Hi, Tom.
I am indeed, and hi, Stuart.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. But today we're going to talk about an issue of safety in Houston, Texas.
Well, we are, and among several very welcome political developments in the election. In Houston, Texas, voters in Houston defeated one of those so-called non-discrimination ordinances that would have wreaked havoc in the wedding industry among those who are Christian people who choose not to participate in same-sex marriages, but it also would have created havoc in bathrooms because it's a so-called bathroom ordinance that would have allowed men who wanted to use women's bathrooms to do so. It would have allowed women who wanted to use men's bathrooms to do so. And voters saw through that and said, we've had enough of that.
And CitizenLink was actively involved in informing people what this ordinance was really all about.
Yes, indeed. We did a lot of targeting of voters who would vote correctly if they only remembered to show up to vote by sending mobile ads to their mobile devices. So people who support CitizenLink can take credit for that. This issue showed some extraordinary nastiness by the openly lesbian mayor in East Parker. She disdained pastors who opposed this. To this point, they tried to subpoena pastors' sermons, sermon notes, texts, emails, anything related to this in order to intimidate them from trying to put this ordinance on this ballot. They tried to throw out the many signatures that were submitted for the ballot measure. Twice the Texas Supreme Court unanimously ruled against the mayor of Houston, and we have not seen this overt kind of discrimination against pastors as we saw in this issue, and that is why people woke up, I think, and paid attention and voted this down.
And we can't say enough about how proud we are of those pastors for seeing the connection between this city ordinance and religious freedom in their community. And they actually put themselves on the line, stood up, and talked about it. We're very proud of them for doing that.
Yes, and also we're proud of Jonathan Sines of Texas Values, the Family Policy Council in Texas, who helped lead this fight.
Now, meanwhile, in your home state of Ohio, they made a vote for clean living. They voted down a couple of attempts to get marijuana legalized in that state in a strange way. Let's talk about what happened in the Buckeye State.
Well, indeed, voters buried a legalization of marijuana, but it was a very strange way that was on the ballot. First of all, marijuana would have been legalized for recreational use. Marijuana would have been legalized for medicinal purposes. But the people who put this on the ballot were a group of very wealthy investors who spent $25 million, and the measure would have limited to them the ability to grow and sell marijuana. So it was a cartel, basically. Opponents only raised $2.5 million, and voters voted it down overwhelmingly. So I think they'll be back, but God bless the voters of Ohio. They used common sense.
And we did what we could from here, along with our friends at Citizens for Community Values, to let voters there know what this was really about.
We did. We sent emails. We tried to alert voters as much as we could. We did some background research on the unfortunate effects of marijuana legalization in Colorado. So we did what we could to help.
All right. Meanwhile, in my home state of Kentucky, we had a vote that dealt with religious freedom. Now, I say that it really wasn't specifically on the ballot, but the governor's race there became kind of a referendum on religious freedom. Tell us how that played out.
Well, it did. A Republican named Matt Bevin won election when all of the polls showed he was going to lose against the Democrat, Jack Conway. Matt Bevin was a Tea Party favorite. Matt Bevin was not afraid to stand up with the county commissioner who did not want to sign the same-sex marriage licenses that created such a furor in the state of Kentucky.
And that was County Clerk Kim Davis.
Kim Davis.
And a couple others.
He was on the stage with her when she was released from prison. In his acceptance speech the night he won the election, he said we need to return Kentucky to the Christian values on which this country was founded. So that's where he is. He's a rather interesting figure, a self-made millionaire, largely self-financed his campaign, has 10 children, 5 of his own, 4 multiracial adopted kids. His oldest daughter, who was bound for the mission field, died, and it was a tragedy in the family. But he has separated himself from the Republican establishment. He ran against Mr. Republican establishment, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, 2 years ago. And so you don't get more anti-establishment than that. And it was only, I think, the second time in the last 4 decades that a Republican has won the governorship in Kentucky. And by the way, his lieutenant governor running mate, her name was Janine Hampton. It's so new I don't know her name easily. Janine Hampton, African-American state legislator, the first time an African-American has won statewide in the state of Kentucky.
And we should point out the voters didn't get the chance to vote on Governor Steve Beshear, but he's the Democrat who told Kim Davis to either issue same-sex marriage licenses or resign, and was very direct with her. Meanwhile, Conway was the guy who did what?
Well, he was the Attorney General who would not defend the Kentucky state marriage amendment. And so people took note of that. So social issues played a big role in that election.
Now, do you see any larger themes coming out of this that will play into the elections next year, come November of 2016?
Conservative people are fed up. Anti-establishment figures are doing well. People who have Christian values and espouse them appropriately but proudly and consistently are not hurt by that. And Matt Bevin has led the way, and I think we'll see that expand next year.
Excellent. Tom, thanks for your insight.
Oh, you're welcome.
And thank you for watching. We always love hearing from you. You may write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. Remember to pray for America as we all use our vote to express our values at the polling place. And remember, stand tall and be heard.